So here we have a shot of Baron Harkonnen, and the Vanity Fair article goes on to say that while Feyd-Rautha is a lean, coiled presence, unlike his uncle, the Harkonnen family ruler known as the Baron, who reigns as a corpulent grotesque. In the previous movie, the levitation suit that he uses to move his immense body crashed him into the ceiling after he was successfully poisoned, but the Baron lives. Damaged but more deadly, and ready to seize more power in the galaxy and expand his clan's corrosive dynasty. So Villeneuve's comments regarding the Baron in Dune Part 2 is that he is a physically weaker character that has to use some devices to help him stay alive as he keeps growing. I always saw the Baron as some kind of hippopotamus that, because of his weight, is more comfortable in liquid. He feels more relaxed in those baths, and as we see him in that picture, he's smoking spice. I actually kind of like this picture. It does kind of portray the more indulgent traits of his personality. And it's probably too that he's recovering from being poisoned, so that makes sense as well. Does that mean he's not going to wear his Holtzman devices to keep him floating? Before, it was this whole system almost running up his spine, how he had those devices. And it kind of fused into his flesh too. You know, he doesn't like being on the world of Arrakis, so this also makes sense too that he's trying to maybe wash the dust from him too, while at the same time smoking some spice. The descriptions for this photo: Baron Harkonnen is languishing in his restorative bath. It's funny that it says that he's languishing. He doesn't look like he's languishing to me. I think he's having fun. He enjoys the sauna. Baron rules by sauna power. The Harkonnen are Finnish. After all, saunas are a traditional pleasure and health treatment. It actually really seems to be in keeping with their background, and the fact that they say that it's a restorative bath too, so he could still be dealing with the effects of the poison. I think that's what Villeneuve alluded to, that he was still dealing with that. So that's cool that carries into this part of the story. So it will feel a very natural progression as we've gone from Dune Part 1 to this. The Baron could be on Giedi Prime at this point, but he does come to Arrakis eventually. So where exactly this part is in the story, it depends. Visually, it definitely is bright outside, as we see in the window slats. So that looks very bright, but again, those could be fluorescent kind of lights, or it could be the sun of Arrakis pouring in. So it's hard to tell. But also, too, just with the Baron himself, he doesn't like being on Arrakis. So before, when they had occupation of the planet, he just had his representative ruling for him. They're kind of going with the fact that this poison may have lingered with him, the effects of the poison. I don't really think that affected him much in the novel. He kind of escaped that attack. But as we saw in Dune Part 1, it really had an effect on him to the point where he had to be attended to medically and was in that kind of cleansing bath, kind of like a charcoal mixture or something that could draw the toxins out. And the way that Villeneuve says that he's still kind of dealing with the effects, at least maybe just a little weaker. So it's hard to say where exactly he is at this point. I think he'd still be able to get around just fine. But probably because the only lingering effect of the poison just makes him want to have those continual restorative baths, I guess. And maybe they'll give him more of this Godfather aesthetic, people are coming to him as he's in the sauna. Even before in Dune Part 1, we first see him, he's in this sauna already. So this is just how he lives. So while it says restorative, that doesn't necessarily mean it could be restorative from the poison, or it could just be restorative from being on Arrakis, and maybe the fact that he's bathing in water. Water is such a precious commodity on Arrakis, so maybe that's another thing to really showcase his indulgence. Also, we have the reveal of Dave Bautista's Glossu beast, Rabban. Villeneuve says Rabban wants to please. He wants to please the Baron. He wants to shine in front of his uncle. But there's something touching about Rabban because he's a bad strategist. He's not very intelligent. Rabban finds himself at the end of Part 1 in the position where he doesn't have the brain to be able to manage and control all these operations. Feyd-Rautha Harkonnen is a very clever, very charismatic figure, and much more brilliant. So that's kind of a good comparison between these two characters and why the Baron favors Feyd-Rautha. Things aren't going well on Arrakis. So basically after the gladiatorial arena, Count Fenring kind of gives him the business. He's speaking on behalf of the Emperor, and he does not like his handling of the Arrakis situation, so he's laying down the law in that respect. And the Baron very much wants to go along to get along, but he also has his own agenda as well, so he's kind of stuck in this regard. Fenry kind of makes clear to him that I basically got you under my thumb here. Yes, we did collaborate together, but if you reveal anything like that, I can end you as well. So I'd say that even the Baron credited Beast on occasion. I mean, he didn't say it out loud, but he did showcase some intelligence as well, that he wasn't entirely the tank brain that he assumed. So he is the Beast, and he's not as intelligent. I mean, the Baron is very cunning, calculating, and kind of rivals almost the abilities of a Mentat in a lot of ways. So that's what Peter de Vries noted as well. Lassu has his moments, but definitely Fade is the favored nephew. He's beautiful as well as murderous and cunning. The ideal combination for the Emperor. I'm excited to see how all of these more complex details, if they're weaved at all into the main storyline. I mean, there's just so much to this world, the depth, complexity, and this legendarium, that some sacrifices are going to have to be made in this visual interpretation, which will probably run at least close to 6 hours and still barely scratch the surface, it seems.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.